Ezra was still on Gideon's mind when he entered the shop, but what he saw in his bay jolted him quickly from his thoughts. There she was, that girl, seated on the floor, with her bike leaning beside her on its kickstand. He stifled the urge to tell her to get out. Ormond and Luke hovered around her as she removed the front wheel. Gideon had watched his own mother swiftly and effortlessly use a treadle-powered sewing machine to create clothes for his family. He was still in awe of her expertise, and since that time he'd not experienced that sense of wonder. Yet here was this girl, this troublemaker. What was her name? With the help of a pair of open-end wrenches, she'd taken off the wheel and replaced it. Just like that. Seeing Gideon, Kiki announced she was going to adjust the brake pads. She spun the front wheel and the back, working the brakes as they made a shrill noise. Then, using an Allen wrench, she turned the spring adjusters for the front brake. With the handle of a screwdriver, she tapped the wheel and then tried the brake. No more squeaking. She approached Gideon.
Did you see me? Did you see me? Can I have a job here?
Gideon sucked in air. Amos would need work to pay off his rent. The shop did not get enough business for another employee. Her dark eyes were pleading. You have to pick up the tools after every job. She took the wrenches and the Phillips head from him, raced them back to his rolling tool chest, opened the top drawer, and placed them inside. She does good work, Ormond said. Gideon realized all eyes were on him, waiting. Come back tomorrow, he heard a voice say, and realized he'd just spoken.
Really, Mr. Miller?
Kiki's face glowed like a harvest moon over the farmlands of Carlisle.
Are you being serious?
Yes.
Seriously? Cross your heart and all that stuff?
Yes. She threw herself against him, wrapping her thin arms around his waist.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Then she came up for air and hopped on her bike, steering it carefully out of the garage. Gideon shook his head. Strange kid. Ain't she something? I do like her persistence. Ormond stretched his arms high above his head and grinned. You recall when you first stepped foot in here 15 years ago? No. Gideon did not care to hear Ormond repeat that anecdote. You were so green, still breathing Amish air. But you begged me to teach you how to fix automobiles. Automobiles, as you said, as though you hardly knew how to pronounce the word. I never told you this in all these years, but I believe a part of you might have died that day if I had sent you away. Gideon sat at his desk, pretending to be occupied with a memo pad and pen. What if I had said no to you? Do we need to order any more brake fluid? Gideon called to Luke, who was washing his hands in the small sink by the fridge.
Last time I checked, we had 3 quarts of the full synthetic left.
Well, Ormond persisted, what if I had told you no? Seems like it's nearly time to go home. He turned to Luke. Will you close up the shop today? The new kid is in 2F, upstairs from you. I've invited him over to dinner tonight, and you're welcome to join us. Well? Ormond awaited his answer. Gideon slipped past Ormond, avoiding his eyes. See you tomorrow, he called over his shoulder. He walked back to his apartment, admiring the persimmon and marigold-colored leaves as they floated to the pavement from a cluster of trees. He heard Ormond's question every step of the way. He knew the value of giving people a chance. His people. This girl, this Kiki, was not one of his. But he had not been one of Ormond's people. Ormond had never met an Amish brother before. He had only seen a buggy in a photograph, and he had never tasted apple butter or shoe-fly pie. Ormond had chuckled often as he patiently taught Gideon how to repair automobiles. He believed in what he saw in Gideon. Russell, Ormond's father, had not been so sure. But Ormond never gave up.